Hello everybody, my name is KingStix. In this video, we're going to be looking at interesting upcoming changes in patch 8.16, which should be dropping in the next 7 to 8 days. The first champion we're going to be looking at is 𝐒𝐿𝐿. He's getting a very minor buff, emphasis on the minor part. All he is getting is some scaling on his E, his tantrum. He's going to be getting scaling reduced physical damage off of his bonus, not maximum, but bonus armor and magic resist. So let's pretend 𝐒𝐿𝐿 is full build, ideal scenario. He has around a total of 500 armor and magic resist combined, right? So that means off of that 500, he'll be getting an extra 15 reduced physical damage. That's really not that much for 𝐒𝐿𝐿 to be stacking armor and magic resist and building, and at least building a frozen heart or a thornmail somewhere in that build to get that much resistance. Taking 15 less physical damage from auto attacks or spells isn't going to do anything for 𝐒𝐿𝐿. He's still not that tanky and he doesn't do that much damage. Not only that, 𝐒𝐿𝐿 is weakest in his early game. He can't contest scuttles or 1v1 enemy junglers. This won't help him in the least in that area. In my opinion, I think 𝐒𝐿𝐿 needs a rework, but moral of the story is this 𝐒𝐿𝐿 buff is a joke and isn't going to change anything at all. Alright, the next thing is they're nerfing Leona's early game, which is surprising, and they're buffing her late game. There's already a lot of tank supports like Braum and Alistar that do her job infinitely better than her in the late game. They have more AoE CC and they are much more tanky with their abilities. So the fact that they're nerfing her early game seems a little bit weird. They're taking damage off of her W in later ranks, and they're making the cooldown longer in early ranks and making it shorter in later ranks. They are changing the armor and magic resist to be better in the late game, but quite a bit worse in the early game. Looking at the scaling, it's getting changed from 65 to 35 flat at max rank and 60 to 35 on the magic resist side. It is going from 20% to 40% and 20% to 40%. So in the true late game, it will be a little bit stronger. But the thing is, in the early game, you're going to be losing quite a bit of punch. On her E, she's getting a little bit of damage in the true late game on its basically max ranks, and rank 4 and 5. Overall, I don't think you're going to see Leona's win rate go up. If anything, I guess you'd see it go down because she's losing a lot of tankiness in her first couple of levels, which is where she really needs it the most. These late game buffs they're giving her isn't really where she's meant to shine anyways. That'd be like if you took LeBlanc, shaved off a bunch of damage, but then you're like, oh, it's okay, we're giving her plus 20 damage at rank 5. That's not actually really going to help her. She needs that in the first couple of levels and through rank 6. Anyways, let's look at 𝐒𝐿𝐿 now. He's getting plus 5 increased movement speed, and they're also buffing his magic resist growth stat from 1.25 to 1.75. Plus, the sapling tox damage against non-champions is being increased from 300 to 500. This E buff means nothing. This won't make him a viable top laner. 5 movement speed and very slight magic resist buff and a very slight amount of wave clear. He still can't compete with Conqueror top laners like Irelia and Darius. There's no way in hell. And as a jungler, I just can't see him having the clearing power or the scuttle contesting power to do anything. This seems like a misplaced buff in my opinion. Nautilus is getting an interesting change. Not really. He's currently ranked around 25th support right now on op.gg. So I don't really understand why they're not buffing him. Instead, they're just slightly tweaking him. For example, his shielding is becoming considerably weaker by nerfing the max percent health scaling from 17% all the way down to 13%, while meanwhile only increasing the base amount from 85 at max rank to 100. That's a pretty big nerf on its own. So his shield is getting weaker considerably, especially in the later and mid game. The duration is also being lowered from 10 seconds all the way down to 6. I don't understand that. To compensate, they are lowering the cooldown from 18 seconds at all ranks to 12 seconds at all rank. I don't think that was a big issue though. It lasted so long that I don't think the cooldown was really an issue. And the cost is being lowered from 80 mana to 60 mana. So it seems like they just want his W in general to be less impactful, but he gets to use it a little bit more often. Rammus's W is getting a joke of a buff. It's getting 10% increased armor scaling, and the magic resist portion is only getting a 5% increase. Rammus's issue isn't that, oh, late game he's not tanky, even though that kind of is. His main issue is he can't contest scuttle crabs. He gets too low on health in the jungle. By giving him max percent armor scaling, do you really think that's going to help his first couple of clears? That's where he's the weakest. That's why he sucks. Can't contest scuttles. He gets low on health in the jungle very, very easily in his first couple of camps. You can mess with him. He can't gank in his first clear typically unless he wants to start 3 health pots instead of refillable. This is a joke of a buff. Sion got nerfed a whole lot of patches over a long period of time. It looks like they're giving him a slight buff by giving him permanent max HP gain from small enemies being increased from 3 to 4, and the permanent max HP gain from large monsters and enemies being increased from 10 to 15. I don't know, maybe that might make Scion Jungle good, probably not. That is interesting though, going all the way from 10 to 15. 𝐒𝐿𝐻 looks like his slow duration on his Q is getting a nerf from 2 seconds down to 1.5, and the cooldown is being lowered from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. His W is also getting a variety of changes. His W is getting increased max percent health damage, going from 20% at rank 1 all the way up to 27% at rank 1. They are gutting the AP scaling on it. 𝐻 players don't normally build AP anyways. Devour duration changed, going all the way down to 4 seconds at all ranks. So I guess they're trying to make it a little bit stronger in damage. It does pretty much the same damage at rank 5. 35% compared to 32%, so it's a little bit stronger at rank 1, but they are gutting its duration at rank 5 by so much that I feel like that really balances itself out. And enemy champion durations are still halved. Cooldown is being increased from 14 seconds at rank 1 all the way up to 28 seconds rank 1 and 16 seconds at rank 5 compared to 10 seconds. So the cooldown is getting insanely higher, and the cost is being lowered as well from 90 mana down to 60. It has a new effect. It triggers half of its normal cooldown on enemy cast. So if you are swallowing an ally, you're going to be feeling this nerf really hard. But if you're swallowing an enemy, it should actually feel slightly shorter than it used to be, but only for swallowing an enemy. Overall, I'm going to sum up these changes for you. 𝐻 is becoming a little bit weaker. Scion is getting a little bit stronger. Rammus, I guess a little bit stronger, but it's not going to do anything. These are joke buffs. And 𝐒𝐿𝐻, this isn't going to do anything. This means nothing. Nautilus is virtually the exact same. His W is weaker, but he can use it more often. That's about it. And Leona, weaker in early game, stronger in late game. Really not that important. And Amumu got a joke of a buff. So far, these interesting changes have been interesting because the tank buff was not really much of a buff at all. It was just putting a bandage on stage 4 cancer and acting like it's going to do something. That's not going to stop it. Okay, now let's keep going. Looking at the runes, Electrocute is getting a significant nerf. This will, I guess, help out tank junglers a little bit. The thing is, there's plenty of junglers who don't take Electrocute that can still pressure tanks really hard. Junglers don't have to take Electrocute to beat tank junglers, but yeah, Electrocute is losing a lot of damage. This will also hurt Electrocute mid laners like LeBlanc. It used to be 50 damage at rank 1. Now it's going to be 30, so it's losing 20 right off the back. Not only that, but the AP and AD scaling are going down. This will definitely affect assassins, any assassin that takes that. Cheap Shot is being nerfed as well, going from 15 damage rank 1, going all the way down to 8. Sudden Impact is being nerfed as well. And Celerity is being nerfed as well on the AD and AP it gives. So they're basically trying to nerf, I guess, the most picked runes because they don't want to buff tank runes. So we're seeing the nerf on Electrocute, Cheap Shot, Sudden Impact, Celerity, and Scorch as well. I guess they didn't think Gathering Storm needed a nerf. I suppose it's because AD carries are so weak right now, and that's a main AD carry rune that they don't want to nerf Gathering Storm. I don't think this is going to be enough to bring tanks back in the jungle at all. I think this is a little bit funny, actually. All in all, guys, tanks in general and tank junglers especially aren't really getting any better. And if you are somebody who takes Electrocute, you might want to consider not picking that champion because they're not going to be near as strong because of the massive damage it is losing out on. That's pretty much it. The thing I'm most excited about is Electrocute getting a nerf because it really needs it. I'm kind of bummed that Conqueror didn't get a nerf though. And the second thing I'm most bummed about is the fact that the Rammus nerfs were a complete and utter joke. Zach is currently ranked 26 on OPGG out of the junglers. He's so weak, his clears are very slow, and he can't contest Scuttle Crabs at all. Plus, in the true late game, there's way better options in terms of tanks, typically support-based tanks like Braum or Alistar. It's just really sad to see them intentionally avoid making champions who could easily be viable completely unplayable just because they want to sell skins. Let me guys know what your favorite and least favorite changes are in the upcoming patch. I'm curious to see what you have to say. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.